All right, so
I have to give you a little bit of credit for this.
Yeah, we can overdub it later. Just
I
haven't had any crazy stories about. Oh wait, no, I do. I got robbed at gunpoint, mugged.
Checking for me, but I ain't checking for them. No.
sleazy real estate guys, but all right, so another episode of the EP podcast here. Once again, a home team episode, our last home team episode of the year. It is Friday. What are we? November 22nd. We are a few days away, actually less than a week away from Thanksgiving. You were just trying to make it a little bit complicated, calling it Thanksgiving Eve.
Which would be Monday when the podcast is coming out.
Yeah, but nobody looks at it that way, man. It's Friday, all right? No one thinks Thanksgiving Eve on a Friday. It's Friday. We're recording. We're covering topics again. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
Good. I'm hanging out. I'm here ready to get the weekend rolling. Got a little Friendsgiving coming up tomorrow. You guys are going there. And will you be coming? You'll be coming?
You invited me.
Sorry to regret that. No, I'm kidding. All right, so let's get the ball rolling. So, Arthur, you have your few topics. I got my few topics. You know what? This time, let's get you rolling the ball today. I feel like it's been me kind of talking majority of the time here today. But before you do that, if they haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and turn on that notification bell for many more episodes to come. And that way you also know when we come out with episodes at that point in time. So go ahead, Arthur. Take it over.
All right. Well, let's just dive into a divisive topic. And
divisive topic.
Well, what do you want to call it? Politics. We're trying to find another way to phrase it.
Okay.
So, Matt Gaetz dropped out of consideration for the Attorney General, which, was probably for the best. And he did that right after a second testimony about another underage sexual encounter came about. So, there's still the first one that's
allegedly or confirmed, and
I guess we have to keep going with alleged because
I mean, if it didn't happen, if it was innocent to proven guilty, so
well, the investigation's been going on since 2021.
Okay,
and
these things drag out.
He thought he would silence it by resigning from the House last week.
Okay,
when he was nominated for Attorney General, and by resigning from the House, that obviously ends the House's investigation because he's no longer a member of the House. But they still continued to hold hearings. And then after a second issue arose, he then decided to announce his withdrawal from the Attorney General position.
Okay.
Which is probably a good thing, seeing that there was a lot of uproar from both Republicans and Democrats about him taking this position.
Okay. I've also heard a lot of comments about how patriotic he is and all his servicing history and all that kind of stuff. So, you want to acknowledge that part a little bit? What do you know about him?
I haven't.
I mean, you're giving me the bad news, but is that as far as you got for me today?
Honestly, I did not do further research than that. I went with the headline news and someone who's going for the Attorney General, who is in charge of all of legal issues, having legal issues brought against you. I think we can find somebody who doesn't have pending legal issues against them.
I agree with that, but I also think that once you get into politics, everybody's digging up dirt on you, whether it comes out as factual or
digging up. It's been going on since 2020.
Well, I'm in terms of they bring it back up, it resurfaces. Yeah. People weren't talking about this a week ago until they resurfaced again. Not in terms of it was put away, it had been forgotten about it. It's just it was in headlines until conveniently it was. So I'm not saying that it's true. I'm not saying that it's false. I'm just saying that it's brought up for when it needed to be used, and now it's served its purpose. Now he's no longer going to be taking up that role. I would have liked to know a little bit about more about him because I have heard a lot of mixed reviews on him. But we've moved on, and who's going to take up the role now?
The new appointment is someone else from the state of Florida, former attorney general from the state of Florida. So at least they have some attorney general background.
It's a female, isn't it?
It is.
Okay. So that's a good sign. I've seen he's appointed a lot of female roles in this upcoming administration. So that's nice to see. maybe a different approach. I think he's taken a little bit of different approach this time around in terms of who he's going to have in the cabinet, even outside of government, issued rules, because it's just people going around saying that he's like putting together the Avengers in a way. But I'm interested to see where that's going to go and what kind of effect that's going to have on things.
Well, I'm interested to see if the people that he appoints this time actually stick around, or do they jump ship after they see what it's like to be involved with the Trump administration.
Yeah. So what else you got us on with that?
Then the other one with politics has to do with a photo just came out that was posted on X by Donald Trump Jr. of him, Musk, his father, and Mike Johnson with RFK Jr. on an airplane in McDonald's.
Yeah.
So the person, RFK Jr., who has publicly announced that he is against fast food and processed food, is seen eating McDonald's with a Coke, which is one of those sugary drinks that he's anti.
Branding purposes, it's not a good idea. For branding purposes, right? But actually, matter of fact, I'm gonna let you go ahead and give me your thoughts on it before I jump in, because I want to see what you have to say about it.
You're going to come out and preach to the country about this isn't good and you shouldn't be doing this, but do as I say, not as I do. Not the right image.
Okay.
So, I do agree that we need to do something about food. We do need to be healthier. I would love to have the same standards in the United States as we have in other countries. A lot of the food that is offered in the United States is not offered in the exact same form as it is in other countries. The recipes are modified. So why are they being modified to be healthier elsewhere, but they're not done so in the United States?
Now, do you think RFK is going to be a good person to lead his upcoming role?
Mixed reviews on that. He's anti-vaccination, and
he has come out and directly addressed that. He's fully vaxxed, right? He's taken the fully vax agenda. What he's for is for you having the option on whether or not to be vaxxed.
I don't know if that's correct with some of the vaccinations.
I'm sorry?
I don't know if that's a correct way to go with some of the vaccinations.
This goes back to one of it's your body, you should do as you please, right? As long as it's not imposing on your own way of how you handle your body, right?
Well, we don't have polio anymore.
But I'm just saying, like, specifically, you're talking, when you say the vaccinations, you're talking about the COVID vaccines, right?
No, he's against all vaccinations.
So, but how is he against all vaccinations? But yet again, he's come out and has reported that or shared that he's taken all of the vaccines.
I don't.
So you're not giving me the full scope here, and that's where my issue comes into play, because I've literally been watching videos of him the last couple of weeks where he has specifically said, I am not anti-vax. I have taken all the vaccines. I just think that people should have their choice
he
of
doesn't
taking
think
vaccines.
That the childhood vaccines should be mandatory and forced upon everybody, which we have proven has been a good thing for the country.
The childhood vaccine,
yes.
Which one in particular?
All of them.
See, I don't know, Arthur. I don't think that's accurate. It's just not lining up from what I'm hearing directly from him and what he has.
Well, what I always find interesting is people that are anti-vaxxers are always fully vaccinated. When Trump went out the first time and said about not taking the vaccines, he was fully vaccinated when he said those things. So again, they don't preach what they do.
So is it that, but you're not acknowledging that there may be a potential middle where someone does take vaccines, but also believes that it shouldn't be enforced on anybody. Now, do you think
we've been able to eradicate worldwide disease by
But there's different levels of vaccinations. You're talking about like global, it's like very serious ones, like the ones that are mandated, like in just like coming into the country or stuff like that. We're talking about something like the flu, right?
The flu is an optional one.
So that's what I'm saying. But vaccination is vaccination. There is a field, just how there's Democrats and Republicans, there's independents, right? And shouldn't in that same sense there be the option of yes, you could the existence of yes, you could be one to take vaccines and believe that you should have the option to whether or not take one.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying on all the vaccinations, but on when the vaccinations become a mandatory requirement, they do more good than harm. So why would we want to disrupt that system?
Say again?
When the vaccines become mandatory, they do more good than harm. So why are we trying to disrupt that system? Why are we trying to bring back childhood diseases that have been eradicated?
Would you say that the COVID vaccines did more good than harm?
The COVID vaccine did do more good than harm, yes. But that one also that's not mandatory.
Okay. Didn't Johnson & Johnson take their 2-in-1 vaccine off the market? Didn't Pfizer recently just completely remove their vaccine off the market because they came out and said that it turns out they're not anywhere near as effective as they say they are, and that they actually have had long-term effects like long COVID?
On the newest variations of the...
There is no Pfizer COVID vaccine anymore. And Johnson & Johnson pulled their 2-in-1 out a long time ago.
But the COVID variation of the strands has changed.
Right.
So when the COVID vaccination first came out, it was fighting the original strand, and that was a huge implementation of stopping the disease from spreading by vaccinations. Now, yes, as the disease changes, that's hard to keep up with. And that's where we have this problem now, is that the disease keeps mutating and we're on different strands, and the vaccinations aren't able to keep up, and the change in the formula isn't able to keep up to fight it.
But then again, at the same time, they have dumbed down the vaccine now to just the flu. Is where we're at with it now.
I mean, just the flu.
Like, isn't it just like any other? Like when you get sick, you stay home a few days. You don't like surround yourself around
Not
too
the
many
vaccine,
people.
the disease.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the
No, you
disease.
said
Yes.
vaccine.
I'm sorry. The
disease.
The disease. Yes.
That's what it's coming down to, which we knew was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The flu is a dumbed down version of what was called influenza, the Spanish flu, from 100 years ago.
But it's essentially what ended up happening with COVID. Yes, there's always going to be new variations of it, but that's why they brought it down too now.
That's where it's coming down to, yes.
So let me get your genuine opinion on this. So what's the role that RFK has now been appointed to again? I forget the exact name of the role.
Health and Human Services.
Is that the actual role name?
I believe it is.
RFK. Let's look it up. RFK's new role. Okay. Yep. Department of Health and Human Services. Now, who is the current head of Department of Health and Human Services? Health and Human Services. I never even heard of this guy. Have you? Xavier Becerra?
I have not, but who was his predecessor? Was that Fauci?
Let's. Oh, no, it would have been Fauci, no?
I believe so.
Yeah, and you know how it turned out with Fauci. He pretty much disappeared out of the face of the earth.
He retired.
Yeah, after getting all of that backlash.
After being 70-something and ready to step down.
Dude, you know damn well he retired after getting all that backlash from all of the claims he made with COVID, and then that were used against him afterwards because they realized that he was, in fact, going against his own word. There were so many video examples of that.
Hindsight's always 20/20.
I'm just saying.
Crystal clear. Yes,
how convenient.
Exactly
well, you want to say you want to say hindsight, but then at the same time, it's also convenient that he drops out after receiving backlash or while during receiving backlash.
He announced his retirement. It wasn't like I'm stepping down today. It was he announced his retirement months in advance.
It's also by accident or just convenience that the head of the Secret Service stepped down after that whole ordeal happened with the first Trump assassination.
Historically, a situation like that, the person in charge always steps down and avoids lawsuits, avoids charges.
Didn't you open up the episode with is it Gaetz? With Gaetz dropping out after the allegations came out, or what resurfaced from what was ongoing. Would you call that an accident that he dropped out?
I would not. That would be a coincidence.
So
We're not linking.
it's a coincidence that he didn't take up the role.
We're not linked. Those two are not linked. He did not reference it in his resignation or his reason to withdraw his name. We can put two and two together and make the assumption. But historically, what happened after 9/11? What happened on September 12th, 2001?
A lot of things happened. What are you specifically asking?
The director of the FBI resigned.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. It's you're talking about the same thing with Fauci. When all these things started coming out about him, and all the accusations that came out about him from all the claims that he had made during the pandemic that turned out not to be accurate, he stepped out. He stepped down. Sure, he's old, but it's not like he was like declining in health. He was perfectly fine, and he wasn't old and declining when he was in the cover of Forbes. So, I'm just saying, let's not be selective about who we want to say is convenient timing and who is not. So, what I wanted to ask you was RFK. Just by looking at him, and what I've heard of him so far.
Okay, so Fauci resigned in 2022. So he stuck around through all Trump's administration.
Okay.
And then resigned in Biden's administration.
Okay.
It wasn't, if he was going to resign to avoid backlash, that would have been under Trump's administration.
See, during the pandemic.
The pandemic still went on into Biden's administration.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So he left off. He dropped off after the drop off of the what's it called of COVID
in 2022 when
he stepped down at towards the tail end of COVID.
I don't know when we officially declared COVID over.
Well, COVID is ongoing. It's just that now it's at a level that it is.
Oh, we officially declared. No, the government came out and officially declared COVID over.
Arthur, what I'm getting at is that it is no surprise that may have had influence on his decision of stepping down. Just how the allegations of Gaetz that came out, or the influence of previous history he had, came out conveniently while he got assigned that new role, and then he decided to step down. I'm just saying, Arthur. What are we reaching at here? What are you looking up so I can help you?
He stepped down after 40 years of service.
Okay, that's fine. And
well, isn't that a typical time to step down after doing 40 years?
Oh my God, Arthur, really? 40? Okay, and so okay, so that's the average dropout after 40 years of service, but conveniently after the backlash. Are you really gonna say that he dropped out? He decided to resign from his role gracefully, and because of no other reason than he served a long, nice 40 years in office. I mean, in his role.
So he stepped down at the age of 82.
So again, Arthur, answer my question. Here's where part of the conflict comes, Arthur. When I ask you direct questions, this is part of the conflict that we get from the audience, is that when I ask you very simple and plain questions, and you can tell me that not the answers are not always black and white, and sometimes they're gray, which is an answer in itself. I'm telling you, what I'm asking you is that you mean to tell me that he dropped off, he stepped down gracefully after 40 years of service in his role, and that all of the backlash he was getting at the tail end did not play influence in his decision of stepping down?
I don't know what caused his decision to step down.
But I'm not saying.
But you also have 40 years of service. That's a good time to step down.
But you also say that Gaetz. You also say that Gaetz did not speak on the reason of stepping down and not taking his upcoming role that was offered to him. You also mentioned how he didn't bring that up. The allegations about the underage girl. Right? So he didn't say it on paper, but as you said, one could put two and two together, right?
Correct.
Can that not be the case for for Fauci.
If that's what you would like to believe, you're more than
It's
welcome
not about.
to.
See, but here's the thing: when
But
we're,
he's
when
also
we're talking
82
about
years
Gaetz,
old when he stepped down.
okay, so are you gonna say that Biden also gracefully stepped down from the race after being the age that he was, and not because he had a terrible debate against Donald Trump, and the Democratic Party forced him to step down?
There you go.
I'm just saying. Are
That's
you gonna?
what caused.
See, but
No, Biden
Arthur,
stepped down
when are we gonna
after
take
the
accountability here?
When are we going to take
what I'm
accountability?
yes, because what I'm asking you is, what my simple question is that, as you said before, we can put two and two together, and you said that about Gaetz, but then I ask you about that with Fauci, and then you tell me you can make that assumption or you could put that together. Can that not have? I'll ask you the simple question: have you heard of any of the backlash he received post-pandemic, Fauci, before he fully resigned?
Well, yes. Again, hindsight's 2020. So there was backlash. Did the backlash play a role in him resigning? Maybe. But again, 40 years of service, 82 years old. People are giving Biden shit for being that old, and now we're saying, oh, Fauci should have kept going at 82. Which position are you?
I'm not
82
saying
is so
I'm
old
not.
or 82 is too
Who's
young?
we? I'm not saying that, and I don't know who you're hearing that from. Like you clearly pointed out about he was forced to step down by the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say that publicly, and when he made
The Democratic Party didn't say
no,
that publicly?
when Biden made his announcement, when Biden
Democrats publicly
Arthur,
announced that.
the video he made announcing that he was stepping down from the race, he did not say that it was because of the Democratic Party forced him to step down. He said that he thought that Kamala was going to be the best option for the next up and coming generation, and that's why he's stepping down, because he thought that would be what's best for America.
Okay, I call bullshit on that.
Dude, that's a video.
I know. I understand. I'm not
calling.
calling bullshit on the fact that the video exists. I'm calling bullshit on that being the reason.
But okay, on him saying that.
On him saying that, that's a bullshit answer.
Right.
That was not true. He's saying what he's supposed to say, what he had to say. That's what he said, what he was supposed to say.
Right. So
needed to say.
Again, none of these political leaders are gonna, or like these leaders of these higher up in governments or close to it, are gonna come on and say, "Hey, I'm dropping down because people are going around saying that I'm with what's it called, underage girl. I'm dropping off because my party decided that I'm too old and not competent for this to be the leader of the free world. Hey, I'm not gonna continue my role because the people started coming at me for my claims about a pandemic at the time it was happening." Yes, hindsight is that 2020, but as you said earlier, we could put two and two together, and again, we will never know because it's not on paper, and which essentially saying I'm guilty, which is why we'll never see it. That it could have potential, that is very likely to play a role.
I'm going to stand true to my stance that Fauci resigned based on age and years of service. I don't have any reason to believe otherwise. He was in an administration that would have worked with him, and they could have overcome the backlash together. So that's where I'm going with why Fauci stepped down. Biden stepped down because of the Democratic Party stopped backing him. Not the official Democratic Party, but several members started requesting his resignation.
Not the official Democratic Party. What does that mean?
I mean, people in the Democratic Party requested his resignation. It was not
like leaders in the
Democratic Party. It's not the leaders of the Democratic Party got together and asked him to step down.
I mean, Pelosi came out after the fact and said, we discussed that.
I'm glad that she wants to. There's go. Hindsight's 2020. Let me tell you what I didn't say prior to, but I'm going to tell you after the fact. No. Ultimately, everybody who requested Biden to step down, if you're a Democrat and you're still in office, you should resign. You shouldn't be a Democrat anymore. You did a massive disservice to your party. You had your chance to ask him to step down sooner, and you chose not to. You voted for him in the primary, and then afterwards you decide, I want to change my mind. And guess what happened? You gave the White House away.
Yeah, I mean, we've both come into agreement that the Democratic Party shot themselves on the foot, and they essentially, dug their own grave.
But ultimately, I will also say the same thing about the Republican Party in the aftermath and the impeachment of Donald Trump, when Mitch McConnell chose not to impeach him and put it back on the Department of Defense to find him wrong when he had full power to get this done right then and there and didn't. So Mitch McConnell should have resigned immediately for not doing his job. And technically, he should have been impeached for not doing the job. But we don't do this, because if we start impeaching everybody who doesn't do their job in Congress, we wouldn't be doing anything except just going to impeachment hearings all day, every day.
I'm starting to think that we're having unrealistic expectations with politicians, dude. Because it's always a blame game. It's always a blame game, and it's never, guys, you know what? I was wrong. I came out and said this. Turns out that's not the case, and I'm sorry, and I'll do better moving forward. We don't see that at all.
We don't see them working together at all either.
Bro, but that's two different things. Collaboration and teamwork is a different thing from accountability. It's an entire different thing. And we don't see that in any party. And I don't think we'll ever see. So, and what worries me with that is if we're not seeing it at the head of office, then where are we going to see it? You know? So do you want to continue on this topic or should we move on?
No, I think we've exhausted it.
This is the thing people like to see, though. I mean, the back and forth. You have what you know, I have what I know or heard, and we exchange it, and then we let the people decide at the end of the day. Okay, so you went into the whole RFK thing. Well, give me your genuine just to close it off with your RFK thing, because that's how it started. I mean, and just at face value, right? From what I've seen from RFK, RFK appears to be a healthy dude. He looks great for his age. I mean, how old is RFK? I wonder that. RFK age.
Late 50s, early 60s. Probably late 50s.
Is he really? Dude, he's 70 years old.
Okay. Older than that.
Yeah, dude. I was about to say. Because even if he's in his 50s, he looks pretty old for his 50s. But RFK,
when you have to come out and clarify comments that were made just to make sure that everyone knows that you're expressing your comments and your comments don't reflect your wife's comments or your wife's request.
Dude, every politician has this. Every politician has some crap that they said 10, 20 years ago.
No, not 10, 20 years ago.
Arthur, okay, 5 years ago, the last week. This is literally every politician. People are entitled to change the way they feel about something. People, are you, Arthur?
You're missing the point.
Okay, what is your point?
He had to retract statements to make sure it was clear that the statements that were made were a reflection of him and not he and his wife. Okay. His wife was not happy with statements that he made that reflected that she could be in agreement with his statements.
Okay.
So right there, that's not a good look.
Now you're going off his
family. Next, his mother and his siblings and his cousins.
Dude, I could bring up examples of the same thing about Biden, about Kamala.
Not to vote for him.
The same thing, dude. We've had it on every end. Stop trying to villainize the guy, dude. I'm asking you your genuine opinions. Look at this dude. He's gonna be in the head of the Department of Health and Defense, right?
Health and Human Services.
Health and Human Services. And I mean, he's 7 years old. Look at the way he looks. I mean, I feel terrible about his voice, about what happened with his voice. He sounds the way he sounds. But what's it called? What is your anticipation of?
In all honesty, anybody in the Trump administration, I don't have much of an anticipation of them. I mean, on the past administration, all the offices were revolving doors. Not a whole lot got done.
You say you don't have any anticipations, but yet you have a lot to say about them.
Yeah, I don't anticipate anything getting done.
Are you not a bigger picture guy? I thought you were. This is what we have now, Arthur. Were you not the one that told me better together, let's unite red and blue into purple? This is where we are now. So given what you told me before, this is who we have now. This is what's in front of us. We have a guy who apparently has said things before that is not accurate with what he's saying now.
And eating things that he says you shouldn't eat.
Well, that goes, see, you're picking and choosing here. Dude, how many people break their diets from time to time? Or their eating habits? One could argue that they were being extremely patriotic in that picture, in terms of they're with the new
president supporting American company eating a hamburger.
I'm just saying. So I mean, I want to part of what I'm seeing is this is where we are now, right? This is where we are now. How can we? Because you're either one of two things: you're part of the problem, or you're part of the solution. And if you don't like what may be the problem in your eyes, what solution do you propose? Or how are you contributing to a bigger solution? So like I said, I know the JFK the Kennedy family, hasn't had the best luck, and RFK who's in a leadership role now, and from what I've seen in interviews I've heard about the guy and whatever the case is, I'm hoping he does as good as he presents himself now. I don't know whether or not he will. I think he looks great for his age. I think it's great that he wants to get rid of all the extra stuff that goes into all of this food that we've been talking about for a long time at this point. I hope he follows through on those promises. I hope that the 4 years are enough to create a long-lasting impact. But then again, that's all we can do, hope, right? So, I mean, that's the.
Well, as we've seen in the past couple of presidencies, there is no long-lasting impact. After somebody else comes in the office, they undo everything that was done. So that's not really moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Seem to be moving backwards with those.
But okay, all right. So, since we're in politics, right? And yeah, we have a few politics thing going on here. You spoke about the RFK and the whole photo op, which I thought was hilarious. You have here, Russia with what's it called, a new missile, right? They're producing a new missile, right?
They have been testing a new missile for a while, and now they're taking that missile and mass producing it, and continuing to test it, but they're going to start mass producing.
So I believe it was 2 days ago. No, we're the 22nd now, right? We're on the 22nd? Yeah, 22nd. I think it was November 19th. So a few days ago, what's it called? Ukraine launched missiles on Russia.
They did.
And this was 2 days after Biden, for the first time, gave permission to launch these American missiles to Russia. Did you see about that?
That Trump gave permission.
So on November 17th, Biden allowed Ukraine to strike Russia with long-range U.S. missile. That's the first time he ever did it in his administration.
Okay.
Conveniently, you could call it convenient, you could call it funny timing, you could call it whatever you want to call it. 2 days later, Ukraine struck Russia with those missiles. Now, I thought, why? Especially given that you haven't done this at all during your administration. They confirmed it. The Russian Ministry of Defense confirmed that the attack did hit them, but they were able to intercept 5 out of the 6. But still, my question is, why now? I get the whole thing that he's in transition of leaving office, so they're trying to provide additional funding. But why permit additional attacking?
But I believe Biden gave permission gave those missiles to Ukraine to use after Russia fired a previous attack.
But
I think I think he stepped it up based on Russia's actions.
It's one thing. 17th, November 17th. He gave a green light.
What happened prior to
November 19th? They've been going at it now for 2 years.
But didn't Russia do something that warranted Biden to escalate that?
Please. He has never in his administration given the green light on using these ATACM missiles, which are Army Tactical Missile System missiles. They're long range distance missiles. 2 days after he gave the green light, they used that. What are the odds of that? Or are we gonna give the blind eye again?
I would like to know what happened prior to the 17th.
I'll tell you what happened after November 5th. When in early November 6th, it came that Trump was going to be the president-elect. And then that Thursday, he was on a phone call with Putin about making efforts to end the war. And then not even 2 weeks later, Biden, for the first time during his administration, gives the green light on American missiles hitting Russia. I know we were talking about a smooth transition, but we want to set examples. Why are we setting each other up for failure here?
So Biden gave Ukraine permission to use these missiles after Russia advanced in the Kursk region, where troops seized territory earlier this year. So
For the first time in the entire administration, while Russia has already attacked Ukraine and Ukraine has fired back, and they've both been going at it now for 2 years, for the first time, not even 2 weeks after Trump becomes president-elect, when they're talking about ensuring a smooth transition, now we want to give the green light right when we're going to step out of office, not even 2 months from now. Actually, probably 2 months and a couple days from now. Now we're going to give a green light. Come on, Arthur. Tell me that doesn't look like setting someone up for failure. You've been very, very adamant about how Trump has set up the Biden administration for failure. You're telling me that this was a smart move to further influence this kind of conflict.
I don't know everything that's involved in this decision.
Okay, so I just thought that was interesting, right? And that's why my question raised with this was, why now? Why now? Like Russia has been trying to push in, and Ukraine has been going back, and they've been going back and forth now for 2 years. But the fact that what forces me to raise that question is that the fact that Biden did this for the first time. So I just want to know the motives, because that's what we don't know.
That's correct. That's what we don't know. But also remember, had Trump done what he was supposed to for U.S. clearance with the United States, he has not done what he was supposed to get his clearance to get the daily briefings. He would actually be permitted to get the briefing and be involved with the decision that Biden made like this.
So now you're going to put this on Trump. Arthur, you are not putting it on Trump. Okay.
I'm just letting you know, because I don't think you understand this part about politics.
Okay. Why? Because I haven't been here my entire life.
So you understand that when we have a president-elect, that they are detailed on
that they get debriefed. Yes, I knew that.
On the daily briefing.
I don't know the complications behind that, but yes, I knew that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that they're not just reading a document. They do actually get to have a say in the room. So it's not that we're still solely on Biden. Biden would be able to take.
So Arthur, you're not saying that Trump has any influence or fault in this, but you're saying what was the claim? What was it? The thing that you just said, because Trump didn't do his part in
getting his security clearance,
doing his security clearance, that this contributes to that decision that was made.
That doesn't contribute to it.
But why is it that's what you bring up in response to what I ask you?
Because you're trying to make this look like Biden's trying to fuck over Trump.
I'm not. I'm trying to say
Trump could have a vote in the room, but Trump didn't do what he was supposed to do.
What I am trying to say is, why now?
I don't know why now.
Before the first time that this is happening.
Call Joe and ask him.
And then it does look like, well, shit, if you had his number, I'd be more than glad. I'll even ask him to come on the podcast and ask him why now. But why now? That's my sole question. Now, it does look like, to me, it looks like setting some, all right, so we were both servers, right? We were both servers.
Well, okay, here we go. Why now? Because North Korea sent troops over to help Russia.
And they haven't, okay, so you're saying.
So Russia escalated it by getting troops from another country. So Biden responded to that escalation by allowing.
Is that what that says, word for word?
Does not say that, but that is a.
Oh, so now you're making the assumption that because of one action, there was a reaction.
That's usually how war works.
Really? But earlier you wouldn't make that assumption because of one action came a reaction, came an action.
We decided to start right here at the middle of the story and not read further back in the story, which is why I asked you what happened prior to November 17th.
And it's not like you're reading that and telling me that that is the reason Biden said, all right, we're going to give you permission.
So what else has the United States done?
So you know what? Let's look that up.
To escalate this after Ukraine or after North Korea sent troops over to assist Russia. So Russia made the first escalation move.
Hold on. I can't do two things at once here. Why didn't Biden let Russia? Ukraine.
But if you want to go back and forth, where did this all start? This all started with Russia.
Uh-huh.
There was no war between Russia and Ukraine until Russia decided to create one.
Mm-hmm. Also, here's the thing, right? This happened November 19th, right? Well, he made the decision November 17th.
Okay.
We are almost a week later. Why has he not publicly came out and said why? This should be an easy statement to find, should it not? If it's really that, by the way, the article, you told me that the article that you're reading right now does not directly say this is why Biden decided to do this. It's been almost a week. Why hasn't the White House came out and said this is why Biden gave the green light on this?
I don't usually know a war where the White House comes out and gives a play detail on what happened and what transpired.
After the fact.
Usually they don't do that.
But everybody's reacted to it. I mean, you look it up, it comes up everywhere by millions of, not millions, but like handfuls, several, at least the first entire page of Google, of publications, New York Times, CBS, The Guardian, ABC, The Hill, PBS, AP News, like everybody's saying Biden allows decision to for Ukraine to use longer range U.S. weapons. Why does the public not deserve to know why? Do Americans not allowed to, do not deserve to know why?
Yes, full transparency. They do deserve to know why.
Because what's paying? I mean, and this is where I could learn a little bit here, but what's paying for these missiles?
Part of it's coming from the United States, but other nations are contributing as well. But
I'm talking about American missiles.
At the end of the day,
Arthur,
when
please answer the question.
When this first started, United States should have just given enough money to end the war.
Is the answer American taxpayers?
Be in this as far as we are, or spent as much as we have.
Okay,
so
that's fine.
A mistake was made. That's to not just.
So is the answer to my
at the very beginning? I was expecting this war to be over within a week. So I don't understand why it's going on for 2 years. This should have been over.
Well, and there's also people saying that maybe at this point, Putin is just bluffing. Because, given Russia's size versus Ukraine's size, they, would have thought that at this point it would have been over in favor of Russia, but it's gone the other way around where Ukraine has shown resilience against them. But what I was getting at, Arthur, is it's been a week. Why hasn't the Biden administration come out and say why they've given the green light on using these longer range missiles? And I ask you, what pays for these missiles? And I wonder if part of the answer is because it comes from taxpayer money. And I'm not talking about anybody else from the United Nations. I'm talking about American missiles. Do we at least not deserve that? It's constructive criticism. I'm not trying to bash Biden, Arthur. I'm just trying to ask, do we not at least deserve that, to know that?
We do. And if you want to go history-wise, when Obama took office, he was supposed to be the president that was supposed to be the biggest on transparency. There was a shit ton of information that wasn't transparent. Mm-hmm. So president who was number one on transparency all of a sudden took office and kept his mouth closed. There's a lot that needs to change.
I get not as you said earlier, I get not wanting to show your hand. That makes 100% 100% sense in war. But now it's it's been a week, and now the whole world is reacting to it, and Russia at this point and Putin at this point has reacted to it, which is why I brought up the missile you were talking about in your headline, is because Putin's reaction was that let's see here, that same missile that's also known as Hazel Tree, what's it called? On last Thursday, I think, they fired that new missile, Hazel Tree, at Ukraine. And what Putin said was a direct response to strikes on Russia by Ukraine forces with U.S. And this is why he specified American missiles earlier, because there was also British missiles with that, flight of missiles that went out. So it's not helping anything. He's reacting. He's telling the U.S. to back off, or at least the Biden administration and anybody else that tries to get involved.
But Putin invited another country to come in to help him fight.
Okay.
So right now we have Ukraine fighting by themselves.
Then I would hope that Biden comes out and says that that's why. He has 2 months to do it.
Okay.
He's had a week to do it, and the administration has came out in almost shocking time to come and make public reactions on something that has happened.
Now the other part of this were these missiles part of the aid package that was approved a while back, and it's now just coming out that this was part of it? Because they didn't give a whole lot of detail into the however many billion-dollar aid package that was granted from the United States to Ukraine. So we don't know. This could be an item listed in that list of aid that wasn't disclosed. It just told us a total number of the aid.
And that's fine. If this was part of the package, but the only contingency was I have to give you the green light, that's fine. We don't know those details. The only details we know is that Ukraine fired these long-range missiles from America, and the green light was given on November 17th, and November 19th they've decided to fire off into that region in in Russia. And now Russia has responded. So, this whole war thing, there is no winners in war.
No.
Only losses. I guess it comes down to just whoever loses less, but this is not helping anybody, and it's definitely not helping us. So,
and this is going to affect Russia long term. They've lost how many men in this?
Yeah.
So you've just taken away a portion of your population of men. That affects the survival and the growth of your country down the road. So decades from now, this decision is going to be hurting Russia.
Yeah. So, and guys, please give us your feedback on all of this. This is all sensitive information that we love just diving into and just giving our input on. But we also, more than anything, love to hear from you. So please engage with us, and we try to engage with as many of you as we can. With that being said, Jack, where are we at now with time? 49 minutes. Wow. Okay. Switching gears a little bit here into off politics. We want to do that? Off politics a little bit?
To get off politics.
You're thinking that after the presidential election, we'd be off politics, but yet here we are, and that's just part of the world, right? Politics. So, all right. This I thought was funny, right? I'm going to share this one headline here. Duct tape banana sells for $6.2 million at an art auction in New York City. Again, duct tape banana sells for $6.2 million at an art auction in NYC. What is your immediate thoughts on that? A banana taped to the wall.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Please remember, this is the same exhibit that they have to change the banana out every 3 days because it rots. So I don't understand.
So you don't even have the original banana by the time you buy it.
The original banana has been gone for months now.
Oh my gosh.
They change the banana out every couple of days. So does this mean it's a lifetime supply of bananas because every 2 to 3 days somebody's going to come and change the banana out?
That's. I thought
because it's a rotting fruit on the wall.
I thought
it's not preserved or anything.
I thought the whole Banksy piece of art that was sold at the Sotheby's, where someone bought it for I forget how many millions, that once they closed the deal, it automatically shredded itself. You remember that?
I remember hearing about that.
And it somehow increased the crap ton out of the value of the art
100%
piece.
was going to increase the value out of it.
I just don't get it. But
and in the meantime, the guy's trying to get a refund from Sotheby's, and then he finds out, oh wait, it just tripled in value.
No.
I don't want a refund. I want to keep it now. That was the best investment I ever made.
So check this out. The piece was called Comedian, right? And excuse my mispronunciation here. I don't want to offend any of my Italian friends here, but it was by an Italian artist called Maurizio. Yeah, I'm already going to offend my Italian friends. Maurizio Catellin, right? And it sold for $6.2 million. It was 5 or 6. I don't know which one it was.
6.2.
6.2. And that didn't even include the about $1 million in auction house fees paid by the buyer, who is, go figure, a cryptocurrency platform founder. So I'm like, all right, who the hell is this guy, right?
Well, he can afford $1 million. He just got paid $6.2 million for a banana and some duct tape. I mean, you can pick up a banana for under $1, and duct tape's like $4 or $5 a roll. So for under a $10 investment here, he just got a $5.2 million return on his investment.
You know, we've been seeing the reaction from the cryptocurrency community with Bitcoin going up like crazy and everything. And typically everything follows after that. All the meme coins, all the crap coins, all the altcoins, whatever you want to call them. But I had to look this guy up, right? His name is Justin Sun. He owns this company called Tron, right? But before I go into Tron a little bit, he said that it represents a cultural phenomenon that bridges the worlds of art, memes, and the cryptocurrency community. I'm going to spend $5.2 million because it represents art, memes, and the cryptocurrency community.
And what does he do?
So he's the founder of this company called Tron, right? Tron is this, what they do is, let's see here, I had it written down. So Tron is known for its focus on decentralized applications, right? You know how cryptocurrency talks about all being decentralized and not being controlled by anything. So it's decentralized applications, also known as DApps, and they hold a whole network, a network that's essentially, I believe, what was it? So decentralized applications is like things that you use in the cryptocurrency platform, but they're even more known for, I don't know if more or less, but more to me at least, for acquiring this company called BitTorrent. I don't know if you ever heard of BitTorrent, but it was this platform where you're essentially exchanging files. So I thought what was interesting was not so much the Tron part, but I thought it was his background, which is Ripple Labs. Ripple Labs sounded familiar to me, and then I figured out why is because of there's this cryptocurrency called XRP, right, which I heard about a while back ago, and I think even a few friends of mine got involved in it. But XRP, that was his background. He worked in that company who essentially what they do is he worked as a representative and an advisor in that company. And what they do is that they're a network. They're a network where they do their digital payment network, and they also do protocol. That being that they provide essentially a means of exchange, like kind of like a bank, but also think for like a cryptocurrency. You know, we typically have our banking system, but for US dollars, same thing, but for cryptocurrency. But they also provide client services through a platform called XVIA, which is essentially just a way to send payments, because that's one of the pros that people talk about a lot with cryptocurrencies is that this seamless transition between currencies of sending one person versus the other, especially when it comes to a global scale. So that's essentially what they do. Now, I also remembered why this sounded familiar to me because Ripple Labs back in 2020, they got sued by the SEC because they had raised money by selling the XRP coin, XRP currency, without registering it as a security, right? But 2 years later, they did come out guilty, and they were fined, I believe it was $125 million, which was substantially lower than the SEC was originally trying to get them for, which I believe was $2 billion, right? Now, here's what I thought was interesting. XRP, right? That's their currency. At the beginning of the year was worth 62 cents, right? Today, as of November 22nd, one XRP is worth $1.45. Now, at face value, especially those that are not in finance or crypto or anything, just in general, anything understanding markets and stuff like that, 145 is nothing. But understanding the increase from 62 cents to 145, it's approximately an 130% increase. So, you know me, when I hear increases that big, I like to put them into numbers just to give a little bit more perspective. So, for example, if you invested $1,000 in XRP at the beginning of the year, $1,000, when it was worth 62 cents, that $1,000 will be worth $2,300 now. So $2,300 approximately, give or take. That's a pretty dang good return, right?
It is.
Because you do that for $10,000, now you're getting 23. If you do that for 100, now you're getting 230. So imagine that. And you know, this crypto people, I mean, look at this guy. He's paying $5 million, $6 million for a banana. You know, how much do you think he's putting in the crypto space? Let's say he put 5 million. No, just for the sake of math. Let's say he put 1 million at the beginning of the year on XRP, and he wasn't involved in XRP, right? Let's say that in this make believe scenario, and he invested $1 million, he would have 2.3 million by the end of the year, just because he invested into something. So I think we're back into where we used to be, but just a little bit more about him. I thought that was also interesting when I was doing some digging on the guy.
Well, I think the problem is you're looking at this at face value.
Okay, yeah, so we'll dive into that. But I thought this was interesting about the guy too. I'm like, all right, this doesn't make sense. First off, the guy was born in 1990, right? Which puts him at what, 10, 20, 30, what is he, at 34?
34.
34. So he's 34 years old, you know, making these decisions. And this is what I thought was interesting. He's also known for marketing and publicity, right? So one of his marketing stunts was paying $4.6 million in 2019 to have a charity lunch with Warren Buffett. So he paid $4.6 million to have. I don't know if you ever heard of the saying, "Pay $500,000 or lunch." No, get $500,000 or lunch with Jay-Z. People typically go with Jay-Z because of all the wisdom he could give you. But then some people are like, "No, you're crazy. If I take $500,000 and put it in some market, this comes out this many years later." But he paid $4.6 million to sit down and have lunch with Warren, but not even dinner, lunch. Give you that. So, which was postponed and then later held in private circumstances. But here's the other crazy part that I found about him. He's 34. He's buying a $5.6 million banana.
6.2.
$6.2 million banana. And has a net worth, according to blockchainreporter.net, of $1.5 billion at 34 years old. So, million talking points here. What was it that you brought up just a second ago?
So we're looking at this transaction at face value. When, yes, it could be that he overpaid for a banana and some used duct tape.
You think so?
When he could be looking
overpaid is an understatement, brother. What the fuck?
When he's looking at this going, I just paid $6.2 million for marketing and advertising, and now people are going to be out there talking about it. What do I do? And invest with him or pay more attention to him. So he just got his name out there for $6.2 million. That
is true. You always got to wonder that.
Versus overpaying for a piece of fruit and some used duct tape.
Yeah, same thing with like Elon's super PAC, that 70 million, and now he's in a 400 billion.
Touched on he's in marketing as well. So again,
it's not that he's in marketing. He's one of the things he's known for is his marketing moves, like the things he does for publicity.
This would be
his biggest one. This would be his biggest one because, you know, the dinner with Warren Buffett, it was $4.6 million.
Well, also the dinner with the lunch with Warren Buffett.
Yes.
The money also goes to charity. So that's a tax write-off. So he just he got to have lunch.
Yeah.
And write off $4.6 million.
I mean, could you imagine paying $6.2 million for a banana at 34 years old, Arthur?
I don't have use for a $6.2 million piece of fruit.
Let alone eat it for the artistic experience.
I don't think you'd be wanting to eat it either. I mean,
it might not even be good.
By the time you get it, I mean, it's not like you walk out the door at Sotheby's with the auction, with the item you purchase. It takes some time to get to you.
Because you got to think about it, right? They got to take it off the wall. You got to do all the paperwork. All the paperwork has to process and finalize, which could take a couple of days. And by that time, it might not even be the banana you bought. Isn't that crazy?
Well, no, at that point, it is the banana ball. It's just rotten.
Oh, snap, dude. Which just goes back to the whole cryptocurrency thing, man. It's just going nuts. Remember when we covered last week, crypto was at, Bitcoin was at 91,000. It hit 97,000 this week. It's literally about to touch $100,000 for a damn coin.
I'm hoping you got into it last week.
We didn't even have this on this agenda, and I'm going out on the tangent here, but I do follow this guy. His name is Arlen, right? His name is Arlen. I happened to follow him years ago, and I forget how the hell I found him. And he bought into something called a raw milk coin, right? So he bought raw milk coin, and I don't even know what decimal point of less than $1 here he got into it. It was probably like 0.0000 something. And then within 24 hours, he turned a couple $100 into $10,000, and then $10,000 into $60,000. And then everybody else followed through that. So we're going through a crypto run once again. It happened 4 years ago. It's happening again. What do you think?
I don't understand crypto. And the first rule of investing is you don't invest in what you don't understand. And I don't understand it. I don't invest in it. I can speculate on it, but it's not something I want to get involved in.
But tell me, would you not put a couple $100 into some doo-doo coin if it meant you could come out with $60,000 a couple days later?
I don't understand enough of it.
How much are you willing to lose?
That's what it comes down to. It's like gambling. How much are you willing to lose at the casino?
And you know what? We had lunch with somebody that we know the other day. Not that day, last month. I think it was a month or some change, about the difference between investing and gambling, right? That's 100% a gamble, right? But some people would argue that just investing in general is a gamble, because all investing is just putting in an amount of money for hopes of a return down the road. Now you could argue that,
guess.
Now you could argue that the reason the sole difference between an investment and a gamble is that the investment has a track record, whereas the gamble does not. But this is when, and I'm gonna warn all of my young friends here and viewers, please do not. What did our one friend say? Do not follow the herd. If you follow the herd, you're very likely to have an ass behind you. In front of you. If you're following the herd, there's always an ass in front of you. There's going to be an ass in front of you. Meaning, that takes two things. One, you're not going to get the best of the view. And second of all, by the time you hear about it, it's probably too late. That's how these things work because honestly, by the time, and here's the thing. Here's how I knew I was early on this. For one, it was complete luck. I just happened to know, and not even luck because I got into it, luck just because I just happened to follow the guy, and just luck and information. But I'm like, what the hell kind of returns is these? Like 1,000% returns in matters of days. When I look it up in the internet, raw milk coin, nothing comes up. Literally, images of raw milk and videos of raw milk come up. So I'm like, oh man, this is one of those things, But I don't know, man. This is when all these crypto gurus start coming out again with all the Lamborghinis and the mansion and all the ladies and all the shiny stuff and all that kind of stuff. It's just stay away from it.
But you also got burnt on crypto too, didn't you?
Did I get burnt on crypto? I don't think I. The only crypto I got burnt on was on what I had with BlockFi. I don't know if I was a net positive or net negative. BlockFi I got burnt on because I'd never cashed out, and they went under Chapter 11, I think, and then they froze withdrawals. And by the time they were reimbursed, it wasn't at what they had appraised for. So in that sense, I did come out in a loss. Shout out BlockFi, RIP BlockFi.
But you got money out of it at the end? You got some of the money back?
Oh yeah, no, I did. After they went through their through the whole litigation process, they eventually were able to get people's funds out of there.
Okay.
Which is what it just wasn't at the value it had appraised to. I do know a couple of friends that I had discussed that was in rooms with that discussed with like crypto and all that kind of stuff, and they never sold, and they're doing pretty damn well, for themselves. So I am happy for them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. There is a slight bit of FOMO that I have going on, because I'm here working 12, 13, 14 hours a day. And then I see that some mofo just got $60,000 off of raw milk coin. But, that's part of the temptations with investing. And that's part of the reason why I got off Robinhood and all that crap, because it really does become a casino. And it's just no good.
Robinhood's designed to be a casino.
Yeah. So, first it was Robinhood. It was trying to commercialize, investing. Mm-hmm. But then, like what happens with a lot of initial good intention companies, they got carried away with the money. So, Arthur, let's close out on a good note, because I'm feeling that little bit of FOMO from not buying raw milk or a banana taped up to the wall. Matter of fact, do you have a banana laying around? Let's just tape it to the wall and see how much that goes for. We should do that. Like, what do we have to lose? Why do we? Let's just do that. Why not? Shit. What do we have to lose? A banana? All right. So, last article, and I thought this was cool. MIT makes tuition free for families making less than $200,000 a year. I like how I wrote $200 here. $200,000 a year. So, initial reactions, Arthur. You hear that a college institution that is very well known, MIT, makes tuition free for families making less than $200,000. You hear that. What do you think? Initial reactions. And then I'll dive into the specifics.
My initial reaction is, how many families apply to MIT that make less than $200,000 a year? So is this one of those things that, hey, majority of our families make over $200,000 a year, so let's go ahead and make this blanket statement that the people that are already getting financial aid, will just guarantee that they don't have to pay tuition.
Maybe I should have asked you that question, because now it doesn't sound like that much of a good note. So anyways, MIT, that's a very good question.
Because just on the other part of it, like, here's something that doesn't get discussed very often. Harvard University has enough money in its endowment fund.
Oh, yes.
That they can give every student free tuition.
Oh, yeah.
And still run successfully, because they are sitting on that much cash. Mm-hmm. So, putting that in perspective. So, MIT is offering free tuition for incomes less than $200,000. So, for families earning less than $100,000, the school will waive full education costs, including housing, dining, tuition, and fees, which is starting as of next fall, right? Next fall, 2025, up from the current household threshold of $75,000. So they've already been doing this. So, and then it says here, the average annual cost to attend MIT without aid is $85. $85 with tuition alone accounting for $61, and the rest is just living. So, I was wondering, like, what are colleges going to do with this information? Are they going to follow a similar path? Because, we've been discussing the whole college tuition thing for a while now. And I thought this was cool at face value, but then you make a question like that, which, it's a fair question to ask. But which means they just announced that they've already been doing for $75,000, so they upped it from $75 to $100.
That's a good amount.
That is a good amount, but you also have to understand, they're saying household.
Yeah.
So that means 2 parents. And they still consider 2 parents a household even when they're separated.
2 parents.
For tuition.
Okay.
2 parents separated are still considered a household.
Yeah.
And what gets you even further in the hole is 2 parents separated and remarried, their spouse's incomes also count. Mm. So you could have 3 or 4 people's incomes counting as household income.
Yeah, so now you got me curious. Let me look up.
What's the average salary in the United States? 60-something thousand, so round down, call it 60.
Did that go up?
I believe the average salary is...
I thought it was 50-something.
I thought it was hit 60.
Oh, All right, so interesting piece of information here. Harvard endowment here amount.
Harvard endowment's over $1 billion.
This needs to get publicly what's it called? Disclosed, right?
It is publicly disclosed.
It's
over $1 billion. At least it was years ago. I don't know what it is now.
It has to be way more than a few billion.
And they were the number one.
Holy,
and then number two was about 50% of that.
Hold on. So Harvard University's endowment fund grew to $53.2 billion in 2024, making the first time
There you go.
the endowment has increased in value since 2021, which is interesting. You would expect a little bit of the opposite since all those they had all those what's it called?
No, you're
All those publicity situations happening.
right, but you have to remember that's not it. It's effects of COVID.
Okay. What do you mean?
So it doesn't hit you immediately. It takes a couple of years to. So if COVID's happening in 2020 and 2021, then the effects on the endowment would happen.
You said 2020, 21?
2020 and 2021
Okay.
COVID,
Yeah.
which affected universities pretty
Yeah.
heavily.
Yeah.
So if it's going to have an effect on the funds, it doesn't hit instantly. It hits a little bit further down the road.
Yeah.
So if they're saying, hey, in 2022, 2023, the endowment didn't grow as fast, that would be a direct result of COVID. And now that COVID is over, now they're 2024.
And MIT right now has a $24.6 billion endowment amount,
Okay.
which is a little bit more less than half of Harvard.
Mhm.
So yeah, you got to start wondering how much of this is marketing and how much of this is charity.
But the other part of it is if these universities have endowments like this, then they really do need to do something to tuition assistance.
Yeah, which is the thing is like why do you need generally why do you need $53.2 billion of an endowment fund? I mean, I'm sure they don't have to just sitting in this in a cash account.
No, they invest in paper and water.
Is this more attractive than bonds?
Well, Harvard's strategy proved to be pretty accurate when the pandemic hit.
Yeah, but that's a once in
And
every
toilet
one.
paper was flying off the shelves and they're investing in paper?
Dude, I don't know. Anyways, right now, as of second quarter of 2024, the total amount of student loan debt in the United States hit $1.74 trillion. So,
Well, that interest is going to keep adding up, so it's going to keep going up.
yeah, so I'm curious to see if that kind of movement will have any effect on it in general. I'm hoping that other institutions follow this kind of thing. Even, it was only what, 25,000 increase from their 75 that they were already doing. So
From households with 75,000 income to households with 100,000 income, but if the average salary is 50 something or $60,000, then that means two adults average would be 110 to 120.
yeah.
So
But I hope that other institutions follow the same, even if it's not as attractive as the idea seems. It has to at least slow down the amount that student debt has, at the rate it's going at.
yes.
So I'll take some positive over no positive. One of those things. So
So you're going to get your application in for MIT?
we're going to MIT, baby. We're going to MIT. I'm sorry, University of Delaware. No disrespect. I have a bone to pick with you, but no disrespect. We're going to MIT, baby, which is over. What is that? In Massachusetts, right?
It's in Massachusetts.
Shoo. And I was in Boston earlier this year.
It's in the Boston area.
I was Boston earlier this year. So, hey,
You already know your way around.
I already know my way around, All right.
And those $50 lunches. Was it a $25, $30 sandwich?
Actually, you know what? Never mind, UUD. Never mind. I'm staying here. Anyways. All right, Arthur. That's all we got today, man. I feel like this one, it started rough, but that's good. That's good. We had a good conversation. Always go back and forth. We slowed down a little bit on the end, but that's all right. A little bit of a soft landing. Always better a soft landing than a rough landing. You have anything else before we go?
Well, since this podcast is being released on Monday before Thanksgiving.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad I asked you that.
Eve.
Yes. Close us out, Arthur.
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And remember, the spirit of Thanksgiving is to express gratitude, giving back, and spending more time with loved ones.
Yeah. Matter of fact, Kevin, Jack, you come on this side. Kevin, you come on this side. Let's all go around the room and say something we're thankful for. Starting with Kevin. Give me one thing you're thankful for. Do not say your brother, because then he's going to say the same thing as you.
I'm gonna say you're not even on the boat.
Huh? Well, that's what you got to get closer. Here you go. Yeah, so. Well, here, give him the mic. Give him the mic.
I'll just sit
Sure.
as well.
Yeah.
I'll be quick.
Here.
Something I'd say I'm thankful for is definitely my first year at college.
You can move the camera if you need to.
Delaware Technical. I'm really grateful to
Delaware Technical Community College.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
just being able to study there and explore something else in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Jack, come over here.
I'm gonna move it this way, obviously.
Yeah. You want some of my love? Dang, man, it's 2024. What the hell? There you go. So, is he in the shot?
Yes.
I'm in the shot. I guess I'm just thankful for good friends that have been really supportive super recently. I'm not looking into the camera right now. I've had
Look at the camera. Look at my eyes, dude.
I've had a lot of friends reach out recently and support me with something, so I really appreciate my friends.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you, man. Arthur, what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful to be living in a free country. I'd like to also
Is Arthur in the
hope
shot?
that I'll be able to say that next year, but at the moment, I'm able to be thankful for living in a free
My bad.
country.
Is Arthur in the shot? Oh, hello. Hold on, a little bit of a technical issues here, Jack. You want to fix that? Give us 1 second here, guys. We're working the best we can here. Bear with us here. Yeah. So, Arthur, what are you thankful for again? Sorry.
I said I was thankful for living in a free country.
Uh-huh.
I'm able to say that this year. I'm not sure if I'll be able to say that next year, but this year,
Yeah. Bring politics into it, man. Come on, something real, something
That is
genuine.
real.
That's like a
That is
backhanded slap.
that is real.
Oh my God. All right. Well, what I'm thankful for is first and foremost is these guys in this room. Second of all is everybody that's not in this room. Third of all, you guys watching. And fourth, this country that has allowed me all the opportunities to become who I am today. And fifth of all, to all my haters. Because if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. So they say. Anyways, this comes out Monday. Happy Thanksgiving Eve. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving Eve.
The Eve. And I love you guys. Till next time, subscribe. Turn on the notification bells. Bye-bye. Boom.